You are now listening to the smooth sensations and high vibrations of Alex, host of the best relationship channel on YouTube. Alex, drop them gems on it.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Shout out to the Elite Fleet, and make sure you join the many people who are liking and subscribing and becoming a member of the Elite Fleet. And I want to talk about this video that was going viral on TikTok because it's like an old head. You gotta be careful with the unks, man, because I'll say this: when millennials talk to Gen Z, 90% of the time the stuff we say to them is positive, right? Like, for example, if you watch my videos, I pick on Gen Z sometimes, don't get me wrong. I call them soft, some they need to toughen up. But 90% of my content is uplifting content with general information that's cool for everybody. I don't spend a lot of time picking on Gen Z because I don't really see the point. You know what I mean? I'm trying to help them. I'm not trying to tear them down, right? Now, on the other side, when you watch the majority of Gen X men content, 90% of it is just talking crap about millennials and Gen Z. Like, that's what 90% of their content is. Very rarely are they really trying to help you. More so they're just trying to call you corny or trying to call you weird, talk about how it was back in the day, as if it was so great back in the day. And there was a lot of flaws with a lot of the things Gen X men did that we're going to discuss in this video. But either way, I want to hurry up and get to the reaction. Y'all know I don't like to waste too much time. So here's Unc. He lives in the DMV. For those of you who've been subscribed to the channel for a long time, you know I live in the DMV. So I can give him a little bit more insight from a younger man in the same area. And let's just get straight into the reaction.
Gentlemen to the front, especially DMV men. Me and my wife have been outside this summer. Karaoke's, happy hours, brunches, you name it, we've been there. And me and her have come to the same conclusion. That is nothing but women outside.
Now, let me say this. First of all, when you go outside, you're going to always see more women than men, right? You got to also look at the type of places you're going when you go outside, sir. First of all, you said from jump, me and my wife, and we noticed it's all women. Look at the places you listed. You say you've been going out to karaoke night. What grown-ass man wants to go to a karaoke night? I'll wait. The only way you're going to catch a man at a karaoke night is if he's with his girl. So naturally, if you go to a karaoke night, you're going to see couples and you're going to see single women because that's something women enjoy. He said brunch. When do you see grown-ass men going to brunch? If you go to a brunch, 95% of the time, you're going to see women because that's a female activity. I'm saying all this to say the man's with his wife doing female activities with his wife. Alright? That's why you're not seeing any men. The only place you named where you might run into some men is the bars. You said you and your wife go to a couple bars. You may run into some men at the bars. But karaoke nights, brunch, I mean, what type of bars are you even going to? You know what I mean? These are not masculine things. So why would you expect to see men there? That doesn't make any sense. Now, again, like I told you guys, I live in the DMV area. You go on your street, you're going to see a bunch of men. Right? You go to Adams Morgan, you're going to see a bunch of men. You know, 12 Stories, one of my favorite spots in DC, you're going to see a bunch of men. That's because these are more traditionally masculine places, right? So that's why you're seeing men there. You're not going to see a bunch of men at karaoke and brunch. That's just stupid. Why would a man go to brunch? Listen, I understand there's a lot of women at brunch, but here's the problem. It's a woman event. If you're a man at brunch and you by yourself, you just look like a creep. No one's going to talk to you, right? If you're a man at brunch and you with a bunch of women, they're going to make the assumption you're the gay friend because why are you at brunch with a bunch of women? Why? For what? Usually it's only gay men there. Now, you might can leverage the brunch if you get a group of straight men to go to the brunch with you. That way you don't look like a creep and you don't look like a fruit roll-up. But the likelihood you're going to be able to convince a group of grown men to go to brunch with you when everyone knows that's a female function, I mean, what the hell? You're probably not going to be able to convince a bunch of grown men to go there. So before you start talking about what men are outside, why don't you check what men are outside doing? We're outside doing masculine things. This would be the equivalent of like, I took my girl for the first time last year to go and see the New York Knicks, right? In the playoffs, because she had never been to the Garden. I'm like, how have you not been to the world's most famous arena? It's the Mecca. So I took her to the playoffs to go watch the Knicks. You hardly seen any women there. Most of the women who were there, guess who they were with? They're men. Because women don't have a high level of interest in basketball, right? unless they're watching it with their men. Most of the time. Yeah, there's a few women who are there, just there by themselves, but 90% of it was women. If they were there, they were with their men. It was usually only men who were in there with other men if they weren't with their women. You get what I'm saying? Because it's a male-dominated thing. So the name female events to say there's no men there as if they're supposed to be is just stupid. But let's just continue with the video and move on from that.
Man, where y'all at? I mean, I get it. Drink prices are high. Women have unrealistic expectations of what they want from a man. I mean, some of their egos are on Beyonce, and they should be on Rashida.
Now, here's my next thing. You're asking why the men are outside. Then you immediately start listing reasons why the men aren't outside. First of all, again, like I said earlier, the men are outside. They're just outside doing masculine things. They're doing masculine things or gender neutral things. They're not at brunch and karaoke. But you then go through a list of reasons why men wouldn't be outside. First of all, none of those reasons are stopping men from going outside anywhere outside of the internet. Right? Drink prices are high. What are you talking about? Drink prices are drink prices. They're pretty much the same that they've always been. Me personally, and I suggest that other men do this, I intentionally go to top shelf places where the drink prices are high because I don't want to get shot at or see no chick twerking with her whole ass out and her tampon string hanging around my food and shit like was probably happening at your brunch. So I'll purposely go to higher end places where the drinks are expensive, where there's a dress code, so I don't have to deal with nonsense. And you also generally get a higher level of quality of women there as well. Okay? So drink prices are not stopping men from going out. Then everything else, yes, it is true. A lot of women these days have delusional expectations, but they kind of also always have. And you're just going through the list of stuff that you've seen on the internet. You're out of touch. You're not in the culture. Alright? Let's just say you believe these internet reasons that you heard of as why men aren't going out anymore. You just answered your own question. It's like a double negative. It's like, why would you say, how come you men are outside? Well, high drink prices and women with unrealistic expectations who probably aren't going to talk to you anyway. I get it. So then what'd you ask the question for? But I digress. Let's continue.
I get it. And I understand that maybe Unc and them really haven't taught you how to speak to women. I get that. But it should not be this bad where it's like damn near 20-1. And maybe it's just me being old school, I wanted to be where the women were, especially the beautiful ones.
So here's the thing, all right? And this is where I start to cook. Because this is where Gen X dudes piss me off. You see what he just said? Did y'all really listen to the crux of what he just said? That man said, maybe your unks and them ain't teach you how to speak to women. So you think because you don't see grown men at karaoke and brunch, that means they're afraid to talk to women or they don't know how to talk to women? You see what I mean when I say always like their quote unquote advice or questions never come from a place of good faith. They're always trying to talk shit on the low, right? So since you want to talk shit, allow me to talk shit. First of all, why would black men be taking any advice from your old ass? You sit here talking about something, I don't know, maybe I'm just old. You are, by the way. But I want to be where the women were, especially where the beautiful women were. Well, maybe that was a mistake, sir. So let me give you some stats since you like to be on the internet so much. And some stats you probably didn't know. Number one, Gen X black men are the first generation of men in the United States of America's history to earn less than their women. Let it breathe, run it back. Gen X black men are the first group of men in American history to ever earn less than their women. You guys, not millennials. Millennial men earn more than millennial women on average. Boomer men earn more than boomer women on average. Gen Z men do earn more than Gen Z women so far, but I think they're too young for that to really stand the test of time. So we kind of got to see where that goes, because I do think Gen Z women are going to surpass Gen Z men. But my point is, as of now, you guys are the only ones that were ever out-earned by your women. You got the nerve to come and try to talk to us about what we should be doing. Maybe the reason we out-earn our women and you guys didn't is because we don't spend all our time trying to see what beautiful women are doing and being one of the bad bitches. hoping we get some sympathy pussy. Maybe we out-earn our women unlike you guys because we're getting degrees just like the chicks are. We're getting trades. We're opening businesses. We're making money. We're lifting weights. We're focusing on ourselves. All that shit that Gen X men didn't do. Because Gen X men didn't define themselves by how good of shape they're in. Gen X men didn't define themselves by how successful they were in their career. Whether or not they started a business. Whether or not they owned any property. Whether or not they had any investments. Hence why every time one of them died, you gotta get a GoFundMe because they ain't even got no damn life insurance. But that's a whole nother conversation. No. Gen X men defined themselves on how many women they could sleep with. So similar to what he said, all Gen X men wanted to do was be where the beautiful women were at. Meanwhile, the beautiful women in their generation were getting degrees, getting government jobs, getting to the bag. Most of these Gen X men, these guys, most of them are career men. Like, be honest with yourselves as a millennial and Gen Z, right? Just be honest with yourself. How many of your fathers, especially if you black, left you anything? I'll wait. Did you have a college fund? Nope. Did your father give you like $10,000 to use as a down payment for a house? Nope. Did your dad get you your first car? Probably not. He can't tell you nothing but how to go out here and randomly talk to a bunch of women, and it's not even an effective method. I give effective methods on my channel. Gen X men don't even give you effective methods. Their method is literally go out there, talk to as many women as possible, preferably when they're drunk, because one of them got to say yes. That's literally their method. It's beggar, not choosing. We don't do that. Millennial men and Gen Z men don't do that. We're not beggars. We're choosers. As in, we wait for choosing signals. As in, we actually care what this chick has going on. As in, we not going to the club messing with no drunken hot girl who's going to, one, you're going to get her number and text her the next day or call her and she's not even going to remember who you are. Or two, you're going to sleep with her that night. She's going to wake up, be like, oh my God, I didn't mean to do this. Then yell, great. Now you got a Me Too case. We're not doing all that. We're trying to get this bag. We're trying to leave a legacy. We're trying to get rich. We're trying to get to the money. You're not worried about chasing these hoes. We also understand if you're in the top 20% of men, the women come to you. You don't got to chase them for nothing. You can, in our generation, you can go online. And if you're in the top 20% of men, you can just set up a profile and it'll look like this.
Oh, really, Pearl? You don't say. Because in my inbox,
So if you know you can do that, why would you spend hundreds of dollars going to karaoke where you don't want to be, going to a bar that you don't care? Never in my life did I just wake up and say, man, I want to go to Nobu today. Because that's where the baddies is at. Everybody knows where they're at. But I never woke up and said, I want to go to Nobu. I don't give a shit about Nobu. I don't care about most 5-star restaurants. I don't. Nah, I'll go to Ruth Chris or Morton's because I love a good steak, right? Some over weird-ass 5-star restaurants because I didn't care about that. If I was going outside, I was going outside to do something I wanted to do. Which means I was probably going bowling, I was probably going axe throwing, darts, to play pool, to a pro sports game with the boys, or to a sports bar to watch the game with the boys, or to go check out a superhero movie or something. I wasn't going to do none of that girl shit just because I wanted to be around girls because I felt like, I'm not a real man, I'm not sleeping with a bunch of women. That's not what I define my masculinity by. That's not what most millennials and Gen Z men define their masculinity by. You guys were so focused on knocking down so many women. Then you get one of these booger wolves pregnant. You don't want to marry her because she's ugly. So let's just be honest. Most Generation X, the reason they ballooned the single parent ratio up the way that they did, because besides the fact that they defined themselves on sleeping with women rather than being successful, they would sleep with anything just to get their numbers up. So what would happen is a Gen X man, thirsty as hell, sleeping with anything just to say slept with something, would knock up a woman who was either ugly as hell, so he was embarrassed, fat as hell, so he was embarrassed, ratchet or ghetto or, one of those things, so he was embarrassed. But there was something about her, he never intended on marrying her, never intended on being with her, knocking her down for no reason, Not even being safe doing it. Now you got her pregnant. Now she got a kid. It's time to rant. It's time to step up. What did 75% of Gen X men do when it was time to step up? Leave. Let it breathe, run it back. What did 75% of Gen X men do when it was time to step up? Leave. So maybe he brought up, maybe your uncle and them ain't teach you how to talk to women, because quite frankly, what the hell else was your uncle and them going to teach you? They damn sure wasn't going to teach you how to build a business. They weren't going to tell you to get educated or help you get educated. They weren't about to tell you to get a trade. They weren't about to tell you to buy no property. They weren't about to help you buy no property. They wasn't about to get you no car. All they was going to do was tell you how to go out and ineffectively talk to a bunch of women. When you could just set up a damn profile today and the women will talk to you. Not only that, but I could let a simp like this dude, if he wasn't married, he'd be the one to take the women out and get the women drunk and shit, and then they'd hit my phone afterwards and I'd be the one clapping the cheeks. Why would I go spend the money? We got people like you. We got men like you. That's what you're for. Why would I do all that when the women can just come to me? What sense does it make? See, y'all old dudes don't even understand. Y'all trying to give game to a generation. Y'all don't even understand generation. These girls are bops. The good girls aren't at brunch. The good girls are not at karaoke. My bad, I told y'all I was about to get it. Good girls are not at brunch. The good girls are not at karaoke. I promise you. That's not where you find it. Damn sure not at brunch shaking her ass over the bacon and eggs. That ain't where you finding your wife, bruh. At the bar, that ain't where you finding your wife, bruh. I'm just letting you know, especially not in the DMV. As many elite, high-value women are here, you're not finding them in those places. That's why you see a bunch of women out there. At the end of the day, women will go out with their girls, get drunk on their own dime because they have their own bag. They don't need us to get drunk. Then come to you after they done already got drunk with their girls. And if you don't believe me about that, peep this. So again, if I have simps like you who will take these women on dates, get them drunk, and then they will come to me at the end, or I can just let these women go to karaoke and do their feminine thing, let them go to brunch and do their feminine thing, let them go to the clubs and get their attention, because I don't care to do any of that shit. And when they're done, guess where they're coming? Back to moi. That's why you don't see the men out. It's not because we don't know how to talk to women. It's because the difference between us and y'all is we don't define ourselves by how many beautiful women we could take down. We define ourselves by what this bag is like, and rather or not, we have a nurturing, caring, feminine, submissive women who treats us like a man. So we don't look like a sucker when we around our boys, which most of you do, and those are the ones who stayed, which only 25% of you did. Gen X men get on my goddamn nerves. I'm one of the worst crops of black men in the world. History. And you're always running out mouths like someone should look up to you. For what? What did you do? You didn't do anything. What is there to look up to about Gen X men? Millennials were the ones who were so involved with their kids and got that number up. We're the ones who cut the single parent households down. And Gen Z's following both of those trends. They're active with their kids. They're cutting the single parent ratio down. You niggas went out sleeping with anything you could find and built nothing, but want to talk to us about what we doing. Man, let me stop cooking. Let me go ahead and finish up the video, man.
And they have been there, and y'all have not. Ladies, I don't know what to tell you. I don't. It's not looking good out there. And may the Lord be with you in your journey.
I'm talking about some ladies I don't know what to tell you. Why are you trying to tell the ladies anything? You have a wife. That also says a lot to me about you. Right? Because if you have a wife, and if your wife was fine shit, why are you out with your wife looking at all the other single women who are out and who are beautiful, and you're angry to the point where you want to go on TikTok and go off on men about why they're not talking to these women that you deem as single and beautiful and brag about how you would have been on top of them. Sir, no, you wouldn't have. Because if your wife was beautiful, you would have been locked in on your wife, which you should have been. You're supposed to be spending time with your wife. Instead, you out with your wife, who's probably trash, and I'm just going off of how you acted. Your wife is probably trash. She don't look that good. So you're looking around in the DMV, which is full of beautiful women, by the way. You're looking around in the DMV, you seeing all these fine-ass women, and you saying, damn, how did I end up with this? That's what's going on. And you're mad because you're like, man, if I was single right now, I don't know what y'all doing. I see all these girls out here by themselves. I'd be running game. I'd be macking. I'd be big pimping, spinning cheese. When the reality is you will be getting curved. None of these women would talk to you. Not a single one of them would talk to you. That's just the reality of the situation, bro. None of them. They're going to look at you and be like, this dude is corny. This dude looks like Steve Urkel. He's not rich. He don't got no clout. Don't care what he's talking about. You wouldn't be doing a damn thing. But the only reason your brain would even go to a place when you're chilling with your wife, I'm not at the Knicks game with my girl looking around and oh my God, there's so many fine single women at this game. The hell? I'm spending time with my woman and watching a game. I'm not even worried about the other chicks out. Why? I picked one. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, this dude is literally so upset he ran to his car, got on TikTok, talk crap about men for not coming to talk to all these women. What makes you think these women not getting their back blown out? Do you have any ideas? Over 2 million babies get deleted every single year. We're talking about deleted, not birth, just deleted. And you think ain't no one cracking the women? Every single woman you've seen in karaoke, every single woman that you've seen at brunch are all getting cracked. You don't see me, sir, but I'm there. I'm just letting your dumb ass go out there and jump through hoops and play the monkey. I'm there. Just because you don't see me don't mean I ain't there. Just want you to understand that. I'm saying that to say, if someone cracking that, you might not see who cracking that, but somebody cracking that. Why would you think no one's cracking that? Why are you even worried about young folk business, sir? What's up with your wife? Me and my wife was discussing it, I don't know what to tell the ladies there. You ain't got to tell them nothing, bruh. They know what they're doing. They got their game. They playing their game. We got our things going on. We doing what we do. We don't need your advice. Nobody asked for you old niggas to tell us nothing. Like, no one asked for that. You married. Go tell people how to get married. Go talk to dudes about being a husband. Why you out here concerned about single women? I'm going to end the video with this, because this is another thing that pisses me off about Gen X men. Y'all like Never Neverland. Y'all never grow up. You're married with a wife. I don't know if y'all had kids or not. I'm going to assume the answer to that is yes. Why are you concerned about what single people are doing and dating? You're married with a wife. But even deeper than that, you're not even concerned with telling these young men how to get a husband. You're concerned with, man, all these single women out here, y'all should be smashing them. And I know that that's what you're concerned with. Because no man who truly wants another man to find him a good wife with good intention would tell him to look at brunch, karaoke, or the bar. All these places have drunk-ass girls. That's going to get you a Me Too case. None of these are places you should go if you're looking for a serious woman. You as a grown-ass man with a wife should be giving dudes more sustainable advice than that. Tell dudes how to buy a house. Tell dudes how to set up a trust fund for their kids. Tell dudes the value of getting your newborn life insurance at birth. You out here talking about some, y'all should be talking to these. Look at all these beautiful women around here. That's all you can think. You can't even focus on your wife around an attractive woman. That's how I know your wife's not attractive like that. I know she's not. Because you can't even focus on her whenever attractive women are around. Which means you're even that much of a dog, or your wife is not the woman you wanted, and you're mad because you feel like if you were young today, you would have had a better chance of getting what you wanted. And all of us, the millennials and Gen Z, know you wouldn't have got a goddamn thing. That's just the reality. You would have got curved. That's what would have happened. Especially if you're trying to talk to them when they're out and about, and they're like, damn, bro, if I wanted to talk to you, I would have liked you on this app. If I wanted to talk to you, I would have gave you a choosing signal. Just walking up to chicks and running your mouth thinking, come on, man, that's broke nigga shit. Like, my bad, y'all. I know I'm going on a tangent, but it's just the reality. That's broke dude stuff. It's like with no money running around and no girl's face catcalling. What successful man you really know who catcalling? Man, so look, did I mean to fry the dude? Nah, but I don't like how Gen X be sneak dissing, man. They be sneak dissing a lot. Like they shit don't stink and they the shit. But nobody looks up to Gen X men. No one admires Gen X men. Most women who have active fathers and like their fathers are boomers. Boomers were the ones who actually set their kids up. Gen X men ain't do a goddamn thing. Gen X men spent their whole entire fatherhood competing with their sons. Trying to make it seem like they get more women than their sons and all that other shit. They ain't put them under no type of game. At all. None. Just zero. talking about dating and you man, listen, yo, I am Alex and I am out. Peace.